Yeah. Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order, 7 o'clock. Roll call by the clerk, please.
Kerry McGee,
Here.
Deb Bacon. Here. Ann Dickson. Here. Nicholas Gorham.
Here.
Ed Wazika.
Here.
Greg LeBoissonier and Gary Cody are absent.
Okay, next item on the agenda would be the Pledge of Allegiance. Town Sergeant, if you would all rise and remove your hats, and would you lead us, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. For anybody who would like to remain standing for invocation, Lord, as we gather today at this meeting, we ask that you will be in our midst. Help us to make decisions that will be pleasing to you. Help us to be able to discuss the matters at hand in a responsible way and be willing to give up having our own way. God, let this meeting be productive and as should be in all areas of our lives. Help us keep you at the forefront of our minds as we do the work set before us. Amen. Town Sergeant, if you'd give the emergency evacuation plan, please. Okay, the next item on the agenda would be the President's comments. I don't have a lot, but I do want to say that we are still actively looking for volunteers to serve on boards and commissions. We're looking to put together a charter review commission that we need 9 members for, and we're still short some members. So if anybody would like to volunteer some time, please step up and put an application in with the town clerk during the day, or see the town manager. Also, this coming weekend's a holiday weekend. Everybody has a good time and enjoys themselves. Get a day off, so be safe and have a good holiday weekend. That's all I have for President's comments. The next item on the agenda was approval of the town council minutes for January 27, 2020.
Kerry, could I make a motion to table these until we have more council members present in case they have any?
We have a motion. Do we have a second on that?
I second the
We
motion.
have a second. I don't have a problem with that. We'll table the matter
Thank you.
until we have more council members available in case they have any comments. Fine. Okay, the next item on the agenda will be District 1 update by Councilwoman Dickson.
Thank you. I'd like to announce that the next community forum will be held Saturday, March 21st at 9 a.m. It will be hosted by Councilmember Greg LeBoissonier, interim town manager, and me. The location will be right here in the Coventry Town Hall chambers. We had an excellent turnout in January. We had 34 people. Since we were aware of some hot items, we were able to invite Mr. Crossman, our town planner, and Rhode Island Senator Rep. Tackers to answer specific questions. And we also had, of course, our town manager there, and he was a wealth of information. And I think that people came away very satisfied with, maybe not satisfied with the answers, but they got answers to all the questions that they asked. So again, we're going to be having the forum March 21st. Please note it in your calendar. And if there are some issues that you feel that you would really like to have addressed, let me know and we'll try to get the appropriate people there. The second thing I'd like to mention is the Coventry Charter Review Study Group. We've now have 5 people who have completed applications. We still need 9 in order to have a commission. We've advertised this next door, Facebook. It's been mentioned at our by our council president at the beginning of many meetings. It's been posted on our website since December 9th, and it's been announced at the community forums. So I will be starting a study review group this coming week for those who have applied. I will so notify them, and I'm asking the council if they could suspend the active search at the end of February. So we're going to keep on searching to the end of February, but we will start the study group. If we get enough by up to 9, then the council can agree to appoint a council, and those 5 people who have already started with the study group will then be incorporated into the commission. As an aside, our charter does not require a commission. It only requires a vote by the council for submission via a referendum to the voters. I do favor voter input on important matters relating to our charter. So we are going to start with a study group, and hopefully we will get enough to incorporate that into a commission. The process will be that the study group will meet, it will forward its recommendations And I will then forward these recommendations to the town manager, who will get an opinion from our legal counsel, and then motions will be made before the whole council, and the council will vote to either accept or reject the recommendation. So I think it's a good process. I use this process for a study group with another ordinance that we were looking at, and people take their responsibilities very seriously, and they do like to give input, so we want to get as much input as possible. So I just want to announce we need 4 more people to start a commission, but meanwhile, because time is of the essence, we need to get all recommendations in for these recommendations to be on the ballot in November. Every work has to be done by May, so we don't have much time to get going. But thank you, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you very much, Councilwoman. The next item on the agenda is Coventry Historic Preservation Commission, no, I'm sorry, yes, it is. Coventry Historic Preservation Commission update by Norma Smith. Is she here today?
Yes.
Okay, great. No, you just pull the mic right close to you if you can. I don't know if it'll go close to her, but. And thank you very much for giving this presentation. It's all yours.
Yeah, I just hope it explains a few things, because there's been some confusion over the years as this has gone on. So that's what I'm trying to do with this presentation.
Okay.
This is a picture of the Arkwright Bridge and the Arkwright Falls, in case people don't know that. We started as a historic district commission, and now we recently, I think it was last year, we requested to become a preservation commission. So I'm going to cover that, the Arkwright Bridge, Reed School, and some of the documents and things we've found recently. When we started I'll read this and then I'll explain. Coventry Preservation Commission began as a historic district commission. The goal at the time was to add Coventry to the list of certified local government communities in the state. These communities qualify for historic preservation grants that are awarded annually by the Rhode Island Historic Preservation Commission. What was required by the town was a designated local historic district within the community, historic preservation ordinance for this first district and any future local historic districts, and a historic district commission. Then as time went on, we realized there was more to preserve the history in town other than local districts. There are various existing historic sites and structures within the town that have been listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and many others that could be nominated as well. There are hundreds of historic cemeteries within the town that need maintenance. A certified local district must meet the following a local government, must meet the following minimum goals. Establish a qualified historic preservation commission, enforce appropriate state or local legislation for the designation and protection of historic properties. In most cases, this is done in the form of a local ordinance. Maintain a system for the survey and inventory of local historic resources. Facilitate public participation in the local preservation, including participation in the National Register listing process. Follow additional requirements outlined in the state CLG procedures. Each state has procedures for certification which may establish additional requirements for becoming a CLG in that state. The community's certification opens doors to funding, technical assistance, and other preservation successes. States receive annual appropriations from the Federal Historic Preservation Fund. States are required to give at least 10% of their funding to CLGs as subgrants. These grants can fund a wide variety of projects, including surveys, National Register nominations, rehabilitation work, design guidelines, educational programs, training, structural assessments, and feasibility studies, to name a few. Technical assistance. As a CLG, communities have direct access to SHPO staff for assistance with their commission, building assessment surveys and nominations, and general preservation assistance. State staff and NPS offer Regular training for CLGs as well, an added benefit of the partnership. Each SHOP has a designated CLG coordinator. Sustainability. Historic preservation has proven economic, environmental, and social benefits. Studies show that historic districts maintain higher property values, less population decline, more walkability, and greater sense of community. Being a CLG demonstrates your community's commitment to saving what is important from the past for future generations. As a certified community, it becomes easy to demonstrate a readiness to take on successful preservation projects, making your community able to compete for new opportunities. The National Historic Registry, and perhaps the biggest and maybe most noble reason is the preservation of a historical resource. Houses are designated for at least one of the following reasons. American history, which means that a significant person lived or died in your home, or an important activity or event took place. Architecture, archaeology, engineering, cultural significance, listing your home in the National Registry Archive, which provides information for researchers and historians. Opportunities for incentives such as federal tax credits, federal preservation grants, and preservation easements. Access to alternate fire and life safety codes under the International Building Code. Protection from the Advisory Council on Historic Preservation of your property is affected by a federal project. Tax and funding benefits through your HPO and local agencies. Access to renovation and preservation information from the National Park Services, and a swanky plaque that you can purchase and lets everyone know your house is special. Having your home listed on the National Register doesn't place any restrictions on you when it comes to renovating, modifying, or selling your home. The exception is if you've applied for and accepted federal money such as Heritage Preservation Service grants. And I put that in specifically because people seem to confuse the National Registry with the local districts. When you're a local district, you're bound by the ordinance of the town. National Registry is not. You're only bound to any restrictions if you take federal funding. This is the first local district in Coventry. The purpose for Payne House being part of it, and that's where it started, was when the fish store, the so-called fish store, was torn down a number of years ago. Everybody was upset because it came down like almost overnight. And we, at that time, wanted to put an added protection for Payne House in case for any reason the Historical Society didn't exist anymore. If anybody bought that house, they would more than likely just take it down. They would not rehab that house. It was to give it some added protections with the ordinance and the grants and those kinds of things before it would just disappear. Anyway, that was our reasoning at the time. The same time we did that, Town Manager Mr. Hoover suggested we include the town clerk's office, which is the photo on the left is the town clerk's office, and that's what it was initially. On the right, the top right is the fire station, and that's where Washington Fire Station was located before the other one across the Station Street was built. And now it's I guess it's now vacant. It was the Coventry Fire Alarm Headquarters. I'm assuming it's vacant, right? It is. Okay. The first CLG grant that Coventry got was the Reed Schoolhouse. That was the first one, and it's not in a local district, but once your town is a CLG certified community, you can apply for grants for anything that's historic. That is on the National Registry, but it's not a local district, but it's still qualified for a grant. I think it was a matching grant, but I'm not sure what the match was at the time. The town had to pay something towards that. And this photo here is the one of it finished. The others were showing the process. It's been said to me that because a building is old, it does not mean it's historic, and that's true. The significance of the term historic has many meanings, not just the age of the structure or site, but of the story that these buildings and sites tell. There have been many structures that offered significant reflection on the past of our town. The remnants of the Searles Capwell sawmill, which was once the Perez Peck machine shop. The Anthony Village was very strong in the abolitionist movement, and there are rumors of tunnels that were used to bring in runaway slaves from the Underground Railroad, or maybe the tunnels were for another purpose. None of the rumors have been proven, but I know where one of the tunnels is. There is the terraced area which was built for the use of the mill workers at the Anthony and Quidnick Mills. It is still there, but overgrown by trees. There was the Harkness House, which according to the 1977 Rhode Island Heritage Preservation Commission survey was known to be a place that Rochambeau visited on one of his visits to the town, where he met with Major General Nathaniel Greene. This house is now gone, demolished over the past few years. And of course, the fish store that most of us remember, its significance is that it was the company store that serviced the mill working community of the Anthony Mill. Some of the sites are gone or unnoticed, but the stories still can be told, and there needs to be an awareness of the importance of the legacy of our town and its people. The mill workers' house, which I'm sure most of you remember, was built in 1806, was one of the first houses for workers of the Coventry Mill, and was one of the few surviving examples from the first decades of the Industrial Revolution in New England. Large pink granite blocks were used for the upper part of the foundation above the grade level. Similar granite block was used for the exterior stairs on both sides of the house, east stairway gone, and for the fence foundation. Assessment of the building soundness began in 2001, and plans proposed for preserving the structure to its original state. Many years of delay for this project was the demise of the structure, and it was recently demolished as it was deemed unsafe. On the day of demolition, the pink granite was collected for use in a future town project. It will be noted where this stone was recovered from the workman's house will be remembered in a small way. The Reed Commons Byron Reed Building. In 1878, the construction of this building began. It was built by Horace Forster, same person that owned Forster Quarry and had provided much of the stone that built the mills in the Patuxent Valley. In the basement were the workshop and storeroom where all the goods were received, also a room for embalming purposes. By means of an elevator, the goods were taken from the storeroom to various compartments. Telephones, speaking tubes, and call bells were used for conversation with the workmen throughout the building. Second and third floors held household furnishings for sales. I think I made a typo there. This was a building that was second to none from Boston to New York City for convenience and display of funeral furnishings. Years of neglect will be the same destiny for this building as was done with the workman's house. In the case that a building cannot be saved, efforts should be made to recover something of the building to preserve as part of our history. This is a single-family mill house that is destined for the same ending of Workman's House in Reed Commons. It is almost intact from the day it was built. It has 2 fireplaces and original hardware and woodwork throughout. Riverview Healthcare Center has bought the property for added parking area. This little door here is from the Brayton Foundry in West Warwick. And behind this is an older fireplace behind the wood. I think this was maybe modernized somewhere along the way in the 1800s. Riverview has told us that we can go in and salvage part of this if we want to keep it as the Historic Preservation Commission, we can do that. And now to the Arkwright Bridge. The first bridge to span the Patuxent River at Arkwright Village was an early 19th century wooden bridge located in the city of Cranston. In 1887, a special resolution was passed changing the Coventry-Cranston border to the Patuxent River. A new iron bridge was commissioned in 1888 by a joint building committee from both Coventry and Cranston and the responsibility for the maintenance of the new bridge was to be shared by both municipalities. For the town of Coventry and the Interlaken Mills, later known as Arkwright Mills, it is the longest surviving 19th century truss bridge in Rhode Island and was added to the National Register of Historic Places in 1978. In May of 2019, a rehabilitation feasibility assessment was completed with the assistance of Roger Williams University Community Partnership Program. The Arkwright Bridge was the thesis for Masters of Science School of Architecture, Art, and Historic Preservation, and prepared by Emmeline A. Young. The Rhode Island Department of Transportation recommended closure of the locally owned bridge, and following an inspection determined that the weight limit should be reduced to less than 3 tons from the previous 5 tons. Both communities closed the 123-year-old span on Friday, September 30th, 2011. Efforts began in an effort to bring the two communities together for the restoration, preservation of this bridge as a pedestrian bridge and possible flower bridge, as many other communities have repurposed their historic bridges for community use. With the research that has been done, we've been informed that the Arkwright Bridge, known as the Hill Street Bridge to the Rhode Island Department of Transportation, has been scheduled to be replaced in 2022, between 2022 and 25, with a new bridge for the purpose of vehicular traffic. Our efforts for restoration and repurpose of the Arkwright Bridge has changed, as this bridge is on the National Register of Historic Places, and because it is a significant piece of architectural history, restoration of the bridge falls to the mitigation between the Rhode Island Department of Transportation and the Rhode Island Heritage and Preservation Commission. The bridge can be preserved, but would need to be disassembled, restored, and relocated. It is our opinion that the bridge should stay in Coventry if possible. We need to find a place in town that it can be relocated. It does not have to be over a river, but there is a site along the same stretch of river we feel would be a good location. If we do not designate a new site, the bridge could be rebuilt anywhere in the state or even in the country. This is an example of the old Drake Hill Bridge in Farmington, over the Farmington, in Simsbury, Connecticut, over the Farmington River. This is what they've done. It's a similar, it's not exact, but it's an iron bridge. And this is what they've done with theirs. They've made it a flower bridge, totally taken care of by volunteers. This bridge falls under their Department of Parks and Recreation, and they rent it out for use of parties or weddings or whatever. But it's mostly, well, they have a nonprofit set up specifically for the bridge where they can get grants and fundraising. The money's needed to maintain it. But they have the volunteers to do it too. So it's not costing the town anything. It's pretty much self-sustained because they have enough volunteers. These are other bridges that I've still got this one's in, I think I've got the wrong picture. That one's in New Jersey. This one is in Indiana, Newtown, Connecticut, and Ontario. This is what they've done with their bridges, not necessarily. This one is the same as Arkwright Bridge, the same structure. But this is what they've done with their bridges, not specifically as a flower bridge like the Drake Hill Bridge. So now moving on to the other things we found. Occasionally things from our past find a way to remind us of times gone by. Recently some items were found in a closet at the Guy Lefebvre Community Center. Many glass negatives were discovered of life about 100 years ago, along with various documents, providing us with some insight to life in Coventry at the turn of last century. The glass negatives have been digitized, and we were applying for grants to preserve the paper items that were found. Other photographs from private collection have been made available to us. Of specific interest is the Telephone, a local newspaper of Washington Village. It was the social media of the time. We have 1 year of publication which documents life in this village. Also of interest is evidence of the abolitionist movement that took place in Anthony Village. These are pictures of Anthony from early 1900s. At that time, mostly farmland. You can see the mill here, and you can see the tower of the mill here. This is, I think, the mill housing for the families that worked in the area. I think Anthony Street, Meeting Street, but it's hard to tell because it's so different today. And of course, this is the railroad and the Anthony Mill and the river. This is a photo, and these were from the glass. This was from one of the glass negatives. It's a photo of an old sawmill of the time, but we don't know which one. This is where the bike path is now. This is Knightly Oak Church, Knightly Oak Baptist Church, and this is the train going towards Arctic over Main Street in Washington. And this is a picture of the Manchester family barn. The Manchester farm was in this location, and this is where Parenti's Oil is now in Coventry. This is the construction of one of the mills in the area that we found. And this is Flat River Road in the early 1900s. Coventry Center, the mills of Coventry Center, the boarding house. These were given from a private collection. Green, the old village of Green, and the Camp Green. Washington Village, the Main Street. South Main Street again in I think the 40s maybe, I'm not sure. And this is the snow removal for the trolley. This Payne House over here. This is also Washington. This is the Washington Village I remember. You parked, there was an island here and you parked over here where the stores were. And this is the railroad, Station Street Railroad. The Washington Station, which that I don't remember, but there's a photo of it, and the post office. This is the demolition of the Madison House, which I think was a 1700s house that was torn down for the Coventry Credit Union parking lot. What I like about it is seeing the chimney, the construction of the chimney. Washington again, Coventry Credit Union here, 29 cents a gallon for gas. This is from 117 going east, South Main Street was here, and these are the stores of Washington at that time. And this is where they were tearing down houses for it's not the new post office, which is now the daycare. That's what was built here. This is in the 60s. This is a fireman's muster, and I cropped this out because we thought it was cute. This little boy has a Dell's Lemonade, and the Showboat and Old Home Days. These are some of the documents we found. There are these posters. They don't really pertain to Coventry, but I think they should be restored and possibly see if there's some value to them. This social banner, we think, has to do with the labor unions early on. We have to really research that further. We found this sign of a Uncle Tom's Cabin in 1862. Was played at the Anthony Hall. A couple of things from the Coventry Women's Group, 1899 to 1900, 1900 to 1901. And this is the telephone. There's a book of this, and it's about a year. And this, I was going to try to find the issue for February 10th of 1886, but apparently they didn't publish every day. So this one's February 3rd, 1886. It was 3 cents. There's all these little articles, Washington Splinters, Around Art at Coventry Center, throughout all of them. And there's bigger articles as well. These are some of the advertisement. This was also a show in the Music Hall in Phoenix, Lost in London. And these are some advertisement, carriage shop, horseshoer, and those kinds of things, just to give you an example of what they are. Our goals are to list town-owned properties with historic significance, prepare a list of potential properties to be considered for the National Register of Historic Places, digitize photographs and documents for the purpose of sharing to the community, apply for grants to maintain and preserve historic properties or archival materials, locate a site where all our historic documents can be properly preserved for future generations, a place to store what we collect, encourage historic preservation to homeowners with historic properties, create a historic plaque program for privately owned historic homes, village signage to be placed at the boundaries of each historic village, encourage and build on volunteerism in the area of cemetery preservation, maintenance, and other historic interests, historic programs to be available to the Coventry School Department to work with current existing historical organizations in the town. We talk about volunteerism. There is a group of people that volunteer their time restoring cemetery stones. This is Pine Grove, and we would like to work with them. I mean, it would be easier to work with a group that's already functioning than try to create another one. So if we can bring the groups together, it would all work better. What a town chooses to save is what a town chooses to say about itself. I liked that statement, so I put that in. Oops.
Well,
And-
thank you. That was very informative. I mean, some of them old pictures are nice. I saw the town solicitor perk right up when he saw the green pictures. I think he was there. I think. Anyway, I appreciate you.
Okay.
If anybody has any questions or any comments, but I appreciate that very much.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I just hope it solves some of the confusion, because there was a lot, people don't want to be told what to do with their houses, and at this point, nobody can tell them what to do with their houses unless they become a local district or they take federal funding.
And you're right. I think a lot of people thought that once it become.
I know, I've heard it
then-
so many
Then they didn't
times.
want to
No,
get involved because it was cost too much to renovate, so I'm glad you cleared that up.
Exactly, no, and even with the local districts, it's the exterior, it's not the interior
Okay.
that it pertains to. So, anyway,
Norma, do you mind if I put that up on the website?
sure.
Excellent, thank you.
Let me fix my typos first.
All right, thank you very much, and I appreciate it.
Thank you, Norma. I was just going to ask that if we could put it on
Oh,
the
yeah,
website,
yeah, let
but
me-
he beat me to it.
Yeah, let me just fix my typos.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
You're
Do you have
welcome.
a question?
Question?
Ms. Smith, thank you so much. I know that you're the chairperson of the commission, the town-appointed commission. You have a long list of goals on your PowerPoint. What do you consider to be your top 3 priorities for this year?
Can I bring my list back? Can I bring my list back? Can I go back? I don't remember it, so.
Do you remember what it's called?
No. Goals.
Goals, there we go.
To me, the list of town-owned properties with historic significance, getting the grants to preserve those photographs and paper documents. We've already have on our agenda for the plaque program for private homes, and organizing to work with other historical organizations in town, if that's a possibility.
And how many members do you have?
On the
members do you
commission?
have on your commission?
5, as of now. But we only have 7 anyway. I mean, we can only have 7. I think that's what's in the,
So I'm not sure, top members, so there is room for a couple more members down there.
yeah, there's room for 2 alternates.
So that'd be great. It's like I always
Yeah.
stress, if you're getting a meeting, if anybody wants to volunteer, get involved in that.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Okay?
Thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Norma. Okay, the next item, Madam Clerk, I'll have you, D1, please.
Tax abatements and additions given by Tax Assessor.
How you doing, Karen? Thank you.
You're welcome. How are you?
Good.
Good.
This is your first one.
It is.
Okay. You won't be hard on you.
So we had a total of abatements of $6,995.71. Total supplementals, $9,078.03. Did you have any questions?
No, I looked over the names. I mean, it was nice you provide that for us. I don't particularly have any questions. To you. Any comments? That's it. I mean, okay. That'll be it. I mean, we get the list.
Well, I got to see the nice presentation. That was,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, C1, please.
Outdoor expansion of premises, Sherry's Come Along Inn, 402 Washington Street, Sunday, March 15th, 2020, St. Patrick's Day Parade.
We've had this the last several years, and I noticed that the police have no problems with it. Is there somebody here from your, okay, great. You wanna, I see you gave us a detailed match, which I appreciate, but you wanna just give us a rundown, how successful, any problems you've had?
Sure. Last year was the first year. It was, basically an outdoor expansion of premises where we could serve food and drinks to the public attending the parade. And that's literally it. It's been, I guess, a hallmark of the parade for years. We've taken over in the past two, so we wanted to continue, that kind of activity where people can eat and have fun.
And like I said, I noticed the zoning and the police had no concerns, no issues, no
Very
problems.
successful last year. Everybody had a great time. So,
All right, great. Are there any questions from anybody from the council?
Just quick question, what are the hours that you'll be,
So that day, I think, we opened at 8. I don't think we'll do that again. I think it'll probably be around 10 o'clock.
10 a.m.?
Yeah. And then the rest of the hours will be, I think, Sundays.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, so if there are no more questions, the chair will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve this
We have,
request.
okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Good luck with you. Thank you. Okay. Okay, Madam Clerk, the next item on the agenda would be C2, please.
Application by Janet Singleton, doing business as Wallflowers Flower Truck for a new 90-day hawker license, February 13th, 2020 to May 13th, 2020.
Is there somebody here from Wallflowers? I'm dying to know what it's all about, so. Welcome. Can you name and address for the record, please? Can you do it right in the mic? Make sure the mic's turned on. Push the number 1 on the eye. Thank you.
All right, Janet Singleton, 106 Parkway Drive in Warwick, Rhode Island. A
Okay.
17-year resident of Coventry, just moved to Warwick.
Okay, great. Explain a little bit what this is all about, Wallflowers.
Well, I have a mobile, a little trailer, and I've always wanted to, been a long-time florist, and I always wanted to kind of bring mobile bouquets, to just sell bouquets at events, food truck events, all different things throughout the state that go on. And I just thought Coventry would be a nice place to launch it because I have so many friends and people that own small businesses in Coventry. So that's why this will be my launch. I've never done it. A lot of work has gone into it. So that's, I spoke to the owner of Borelli's Bakery and the Black Heart Tattoo. They're in the same parking lot.
Yep.
And they agreed that they were having an event and they really wanted me to join it. And so I'm just selling bouquets of roses.
Now, this is your first time, then?
Mhm.
Okay, great, great. Is there any questions from anybody from the council? You do that? I mean, I think it's a great idea. I mean, we should, I welcome business to come in Coventry. Yeah, it's for a 90-day hawker license from February 13th to May 13th.
Yeah.
So if there's no Yes.
Yeah,
You'll be there for Valentine's Day?
I will.
Okay, just wanted to check. Thank
Yes,
you.
yes, I will.
Someone buying you roses?
Oh, they're beautiful. I just got them in today, and they're
It's a
from Ecuador.
secret.
They're unbelievable.
Great.
Unbelievable.
Okay, well, if there's no questions, the chair will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve this application for Wallflowers Flower Truck, 90-day hawker license.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. I wish you luck. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, Madam Clerk, D1, please.
Resolution to approve the Coventry School District and the Town of Coventry submittal of the Stage 1 application to the School Building Authority and the Rhode Island Department of Education in accordance with FY 2020 necessity of school construction guidelines.
All right, now we've had a lot of discussion in the past. We've approved to move ahead forward with the school building assessments, or whatever you want to call it. Do you have any?
This is a no-brainer. It's just simply to approve, so it passes on, so they can present the application to Rhode. There's no cost to the town on this. In fact, if we don't go through with it, there could be a potential cost. Correct me if I'm wrong, that we might be on the hook for the $150,000 that the state granted to do this whole process, to develop this. I skimmed through it, 750 pages.
Oh, I saw it, yeah. I gotta be honest, I didn't read it all. But, did you? But, no, I mean, I understand the process, and they've been approved to move forward, so this is just the next step. So, I don't know if there's any questions. We're not gonna go through 750 pages. Okay, thank you.
No, I just had a couple. One is actually for Nick. Since we changed the resolution, we appointed Greg LeBossonier as the council member to sit on the building committee, and now that's, yes, I know, but that's changed, and now it's going to be Kerry McGee. Do we have to amend that resolution and name Kerry to that?
Well, I don't know if it has to do with the resolution that's at hand.
No, I'm just asking. I don't want to have a hiccup with this, that's all. I'm just asking the question.
The resolution doesn't specify.
No, I know, but we appointed the building committee, and
Right.
Greg LeBossonier is no longer on it.
Right.
I'm just asking, do we have to just, going forward, do we have to amend and add Kerry? Because he's now taking the place of Greg LeBossonier.
Yeah, you can do that.
I just
but
want to
I
make
don't
sure that
think
there are
you're
no
on-
hiccups
until they
submitting this
take
application.
Until they take a substantive vote on really this project, I don't think it's of any consequence that you
Okay.
haven't done it
I
yet.
just
to
wanted,
to give you some comfort.
okay.
I mean, I don't have a problem with putting up the resolution together for next meeting. And just,
Okay,
you know, that's
yeah,
not an
I
issue.
just wanted to make sure, I don't want any, like I said,
Understood.
I don't want any hiccups, that's all.
Okay.
And I just had one.
I'm not familiar with hiccups, but I think I know what you mean. So it's of no consequence right now.
Okay,
We'll do it, we can do it at a later meeting.
okay.
Okay.
And can I ask a question about what is in
Sure.
this binder?
I did not
Is that-
read all 750 pages, but
Okay, well, I did, but that's okay, I just, I
you can
just,
ask me a question. You want to ask
No,
me a
not you.
question?
No, I
Oh,
guess-
all right.
it may actually be, I don't know, maybe for Luke, because you're the head of the building committee? Are you the chair?
You know this by heart, I would imagine, you.
No, it's,
No, good. Luke Murray, 121 Hill Farm Camp Road. Yes, I am the chair of the building committee. Yep.
and it's just a follow-up. The last section of this, page 757, there was emails going back and forth between Jerry and, I forgot the gentleman's name, Brian. I guess it's the consultant, your consultant, regarding National Grid.
Right, Bob. Yeah, because I don't know the contents of emails back and
Oh,
forth
okay.
between the consultant.
I was just wondering if there was ever a meeting or a follow-up. That's all. I was just.
Well, what was it pertaining to?
It is
Specifically?
pertaining to to help with incentives and rebates on improvements for the code performances. I hate it looks like he knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I don't know if that was a specific thing you guys.
Oh, he
Okay,
is.
fine.
Okay. I
Yeah,
haven't
just
mailed
name it
him.
now, just for the record.
Yeah, Brian Zigman is an engineer with our office,
Okay.
and he routinely emails to National Grid. And
Excuse me, sir.
that's
Could you
Jerry.
just, sir, could you
And-
just give your name and address for the
Oh,
record, please? Thank you.
My name is Dick Moretti. I'm with Studio Jade Architects.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And so Brian routinely emails and lets National Grid know that the Coventry Public Schools are going through the necessity of school construction process. And that is a requirement that RIDE has as part of the stage one process, that we notify National Grid that this is upcoming and that they are aware then that there will be some communication with them in the stage two process specifically to discuss what rebates may be available at that time and to try to actually maximize those rebates. And we've been working with Jerry on several different ones, and so we're used to working with him. And, I think you saw from the email exchange that he's used to working with
Yeah,
us
it
as well.
appeared that way. Yes, thank you. I just wanted to follow up,
Sure.
when I saw the, the rebates and everything, there was quite a list. So I just wanted to make sure that.
Yes.
That's all.
Just
Thank you,
for
sir.
the record, Jerry's pretty well known throughout the state. I'm working with him on the street lighting conversion and some other initiatives in Warwick. And he's, with National Grid, he is the authority on all of the rebate programs. So it's something that, we'll be looking at whatever monies that we can grab through this process.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank
Okay,
you.
great. So, that being said, Chair, entertain a motion. You have a question? You have a question?
After the motion is made,
Yeah, okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the resolution of the town council, that we approve the submittal for stage one application for the school building authority and the Rhode Island Department of Education.
Do you have a concern before I make a vote?
I don't have a
Okay.
concern.
All right,
just a
so
statement.
we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Okay, you have a
I was going to make a
let
comment.
me just, what you do
That's
when I
okay.
open public comment up?
Okay, fine.
Yeah, the next item on the agenda will be public comment. If there's anybody from the audience who would like to speak about any matters, feel free to raise your hand and come up. And Councilwoman has a comment herself to make. Go ahead, Councilwoman, you can make your first comment.
Well, I was just going to say that, first of all, I wanted to acknowledge the members of the school committee who are here, Mrs. Patno and Mr. Murray. Mr. Murray is also the chairperson of the school design group. Superintendent Levis is here, and also financial director, Mrs. Mangiarelli. So I'd like to thank them for their support. We are very happy to support this resolution. And it was interesting because as a member of the school committee for 6 years, I attended a number of presentations that were made by the state treasurer, Mr. Magaziner. And he talked about, at the time, the 2017 Jacobs Report, which identified the needs in all of the schools in Rhode Island. And it was interesting to me that in the PowerPoint that he was using going throughout the state to try to generate interest for the referendum, which ultimately did pass, there was a photograph inside the Allen Shawn Feinstein Middle School. So even back then, the state was identifying that there was a very strong need for improvement. So I'm happy that we're able to support this resolution going forward. This is a very hefty book, and I just wanted for people who are not here or who are here, note that it is, 785 pages. And I'm going to loan my copy to the library in Western Coventry so that if members of the public who go into the library want to see this report, I'm even going to give them a table so that this could fit on the table, a nice table that will open up on. I don't know how many people will stand there and read this whole report, but I want them to understand the work that our public schools have had and all the members of the staff have gone through in order to put together this very well-researched report. It looks like a success to me. Our next stage, of course, as you know, is just to meet together with Mr. Murray and his team, and we will be identifying what are the solutions to the needs that we are going to present to the public. So the starting point is for people to become familiar with what the needs are in our community. So I will be loaning my copy out so that people can take a look at it. So thank you, members of the council, for your support.
And I also like to echo her, it was a lot of work put into it, and I appreciate the school committee coming here tonight, this evening, members of the committee. So, at this time, I would open up the floor to anybody from the public who would like to make a comment. Seeing none, hearing, oh, okay.
First, real quick, thank
Name
you
and
very
address
much.
again.
What's that?
Name and address,
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry. Luke Murray, 121 Hill Farm Camp Road. Really, I just wanted to actually talk about Norma's work and thank her for her work on the historic. I know it's a loveless job and something that's near and dear to my heart. I grew up in Anthony. I remember going to Western Auto. John Galone used to be there. I actually delivered Meals on Wheels to that house that got destroyed, the old mill house. So it broke my heart when that came down, as well as the old Coventry Seafood. And now I see the old Reed building that's kind of going the same way. So, but I want to take the opportunity to also express that I hope once the comprehensive plan is done, that we'll take the opportunity to really look at history as sort of an economic resource, because so often we're so looking forward to a tax base. And what does that look like? Well, Dollar Trees and the next pharmacy and the next gas station where we tear down history. And unfortunately, we overlook the opportunity that's right in front of us, which is to actually restore what's there and bring back and really go back to the core of our town, which really could be an economic generator. So I hope that after the comprehensive plan, we'll look at other opportunities through zoning and other local legislation to bring that back. I talked about the historic tax credit the other night, some of the things that the state can do at their level. But I do think at a local level, we could really be taking those opportunities to capitalize on that. So, and I'd be remiss if I didn't say it. But again, thank you for the hard work that Norma's done, and the presentation, very interesting.
It was interesting. I really enjoy the old pictures and the old documents. So, okay, anybody else from the audience have a comment? Seeing none, Chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn this meeting.
We have a motion to adjourn. Do we have a second? We have a second. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion carries. Thank you very much for coming tonight.